Welcome to this section once again. This is the section 3 we are having today. And this morning we had 2 sections with myself. And today we have an amazing mentor joining us to deliver the 3rd section for today on pivot table. As we know earlier, we are organizing this data for her to empower more women and young people to pursue a career, to be data literate, and also to support their career transition and upskilling, as well as build confidence. And I believe with the story you will hear, even from the mentor, from all of the mentors here, from myself and everyone here, to be able to inspire you to have all of the confidence you need to pursue a career in data or just using it in a similar role. If you've been here before, my name is Julieth. I have been an instructor for the past 9 years. Started with instructing Microsoft Office, but I didn't continue. I went into operations, and afterwards, I became a performance analyst. I'm also a Microsoft community leader, and I'm a director of Extraordinary Woman blog, also running Eastern Technologies. Currently, I am a data management consultant, and in my company, I work as a data solutions partner. From time to time, you get to hear more about me as we proceed with some of this section. And the amazing mentor we have today that will be supporting us with this section, her name is Kelechi. And Kelechi is a data and business operations specialist, has a bachelor's degree in economics and a master's degree in economics as well from the University of Lagos. Kelechi has a wealth of experience. And at this point, I would want to give the floor open to her to share more about her story, her experience, and her zeal to empower more people to be data literate and apparently pursue a career in data analysis. So I will leave the floor open to Kelechi to tell us more about herself and all of the stories that can inspire us today. Kelechi, over to you. We can't seem to hear you. Yeah, she unmuted, but we still can't hear her. Maybe you should check the mic your PC is using. Okay. All right. We'll wait for you. She's trying to join from another device.
All right. Hello, everyone. Can you hear me now?
All right. Hello, everyone. Can you hear me now?
All right.
Yes, we can hear you.
All right. So, good evening, everyone, and sorry about that. We'll just proceed because we've actually lost a
Yeah.
lot of time.
So I would
So,
stop sharing from my end.
okay,
You can just share.
okay.
Let me know if you want me to share instead, if it will be faster.
I started sharing already, but okay, you
Oh,
can do from your end because you can try it from your end. Let me stop here. It's
no,
already
if you
sharing. But
started, if you started, you
can you see
can
my
share.
screen now?
No, not yet. No, I can't.
Okay. I'm sharing my screen at the moment.
All right. Well, I can't say it. I'm wondering if I'm just the only one. Can everyone say it? Oh,
No, ma. Okay. You can go ahead and share from your end while I check my settings here.
all right.
All right, so just a brief introduction of myself. So my name is Kelechi Opara, and I currently work in a cybersecurity firm as a sales analyst. And my background, well, it's been about 9 years now of being an analyst in the industry, but I moved across industries from the energy sector over the course of these 9 years, from the energy sector to media intelligence and FMCG, and now to cybersecurity, to the cybersecurity space. And what I do currently is reports, of course, using Excel, Power BI, and all of that. So just to limit the story to due to time to what is relevant here now. So I will just point out two things. First, data analysis. What you're about to learn today is um, it's beyond just, it may look like it's analytics using Excel, but it's not just restricted to data analysis. And it does not mean anyone from any field, coming from any other field, cannot do it. Why I said so is because at the start of my career, I started out as an admin, or should I say secretary. That's what I started out as. But that's what I started out as. But currently, I moved into the analyst field, and then I started working as an analyst It was very simple. I started with training. I started with from data entry. I wanted to know more. And I started bit by bit from Excel to Power BI. So you too can do it. I worked as an admin for 3 years before I moved into, and while I was doing that, I had this other part of business analyst as a secondary role, but I developed that. So look beyond that, because in the nearest future, it's going to be a proficiency. Just the way you have people say, can you use Words? Can you use PowerPoint? Can you use the Excel? It will also be required for nearly everyone to be able to use the Excel to beyond data entry, to being able to create reports. Reports is simply reporting on your activity, what you have done so far, your findings and your recommendations. Now, the second thing I want to say is we'll be focusing on pivot in this session, but I need you to know that pivot was actually what I would say gave me a major breakthrough. Before then, I was working in just, well, should I say small firms, small organizations. And I remember somebody talking about inviting me, oh, there's a job opening somewhere in a multinational. Of course, I didn't know anyone there. And it helps if you know someone in a multinational. And I got there. When I got there that day, being the only female, I actually sat down, and being the only female amongst guys, and when the person walked in, she just told us, you know what, I'm not ready for talk. I just want to see what you can do first before we even start the interview proper. And that was how I went about it. We're given a report, replicate same. And they just brought the raw data and gave us where we're heading to, and said, I want you to replicate this report. This is a report we use internally. But because I knew about pivot, I simply used pivot, what I'm about to teach you today. And at the end of the day, when the time elapsed, she walked in, and that was how every other candidate was eliminated. And I had to, just me, I proceeded with the rest of the interview. And at that point, it wasn't just an interview. It was just talking about the terms of engagement. That was how I moved into a multinational. And I didn't just come in, start as a junior officer. I came in as a supervisor for the first time. So it's just to open your mind to what you're about to learn today and what it can do for you. Please, can we move to the next slide? So we'll be talking basically about pivots. We're talking basically about pivots, what pivots can do for you. So I'll just give a brief introduction. The next slide, please. So what is pivot now? Now, pivot is a tool that we use in Excel. It's simply to summarize. Remember, I told you that it's all about reporting. You will need Excel. Everyone will need Excel at any point, at a point in time of their career, to summarize what they've been doing, what they've been working on, and also give recommendations. So Pivot is a tool that helps you do that. It helps you summarize data. I mean, in a click, it just gives you data that runs into millions of rows and columns and all that. Millions of rows. It just summarizes everything and gives you at a glance what you want. It can also help you to compare, do one or two analyses, and then be able to explain your reports better. So it summarizes large amount of data. It allows fast analysis and filtering, and then it updates automatically, which is another thing about Pivot. You keep updating the data. You don't need to repeat. Once you have created it, you just keep updating your data. And when you refresh, it updates every other thing you have worked on automatically, as long as you're adding to your data. Say you've been working from January to February, March, April, May. By the time you come to the next month and you add the data for May, June, July, and you keep refreshing, it keeps updating automatically instead of you starting all over again. Can we move to the next slide? So these are what we use Pivot for. It will help you to summarize in any way you want it, whether as average, count, sales, anything, which you will see practically. It helps you compare categories. For instance, you're trying to compare your working in a logistics, in a retail company, and you need to make deliveries. You need to do deliveries, and you're trying to determine possibly how to map out your routes so that you can check your consumption of fuel, as that could be a major cost which could impact the business and the profit in the business. You can compare. Let's say compare a certain route to a certain route, and in comparing that, you'll be able to know and tie down the cost. And in that way, you're able to prefer solution that can grow or help the business. You can also analyze trends. For instance, you can check to know, okay, where you have 3 products which you are selling in the company. Perhaps on the a particular region tends to accept, the acceptance rate is high of a particular one of those products in a certain region. Of course, you would know that you would push and make all promotional activities to suit the other region. You create more budget for that instead of moving to another region, which of course data could go further to tell you why another region isn't accepting the way the other does, and helps you to be able to focus based on the data, to give you a focus based on the data that you are using. So we analyze trends like that. We analyze seasonal trends to know at a certain time or at a certain period, something happens and you're able to tailor your business decisions around that. It also helps you create dashboards, which we'll look further into as we continue. Next slide, please. Okay, so now about pivots, you need to know these 4 things because you will see that. You need to know these 4 things because you will see it. So in pivot tables, there are 4 areas. There are four building blocks actually of pivot table. We have the rows. The rows is where you categorize, where you analyze, you drop your categories. That's the variables you are seeking to analyze. What is that thing that you are trying to what is that thing that you are trying to analyze? What do you want to break the data by? It could be a product or a category or region or country or state. That's what you put in your row. Now, when we check the column, when we look at the column, it's what we want to compare it by. What are we comparing by? Are we comparing by years? Are we comparing by states? Are we comparing by year? Are we comparing by gender? What do you want to compare those variables you're looking at? How do you want to compare them? You put that in your column. We have the values. The values is simply what you want Excel to calculate or summarize it by. Do you want Excel to summarize by total, by average, or by count? And finally, the filter is now you will now be asking, what do I want to include or exclude in this data? If you want the data to show you a particular thing, a particular aspect of it, like filter out or filter for only, I only want to study about the female. And perhaps you have the female and the male gender there in the data. You'll be able to filter out just female to show you only what is going on among females so that you can study, get a better insight on what is happening in that data. Can we move to the next slide? So this is a picture of a pivot table. And there you can see filter, you can see column, the row, and the value. And you can see a summary of it. So this is just a snapshot of what it looks like. Next slide. So we are going to go practical now on this. So try to share at this point.
Okay.
All right. It works. So I'm sharing at the moment and on my second device. I still cannot see it. But I don't know why I can't see that. And I've been sharing for a while now, and it's showing that it's sharing. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I don't know why it's not appearing at the other end.
So it's showing from your end that you're sharing your screen. Or
Yes.
from our end, we can't see it.
Yes.
Mm.
Can you check and allow the I'm rejoining
All right.
as Kelechi Opara.
All right. Let me see. Can you try again now?
I'm waiting. See, someone will let you in shortly.
I'm actually not seeing anyone in the waiting room. I think someone made that complaint before, and I had to tell them to rejoin. Please, if you can rejoin.
That's what I'm trying to do. Okay. All
Okay,
right.
you've been able to join.
Yes.
Let me try and promote Kelechi Opara as well. Make you presenter and see if you could share now.
Okay. Okay. So it's all right. So now what you have on the screen is a data set. So this is a sample data set. I'll name it. Let me double click and rename the data set. So I want to believe you're able to interact with Excel, you understand the Excel structure and all of that, and you know about tables and all that. So now this is the data. By the way, I hope we are following. I hope. Let me check to be sure. All right. All right. So now this is the data set. So what you do is now you're expected, you can highlight all the data, but now this is a long data actually. So the best way is when you put your cursor on any part of the data, it just has to be within the data or within the table on any part of the data. That is after you've ensured that your data is clean and all of that. The next thing you do is you can see this here. You have the home tab, insert tab, draw, page layout, and all of that, and all these points, all these tabs. But now for this, we use the insert tab. We use the insert tab here. Now, when you go to the insert tab, you can see pivot here, pivot table. So you tap on, you click on pivot table. That's automatically picked. That's why you need to ensure that you are at any point on the data. If you're outside the data, it won't be able to pick the table. But once you're within any point at the data, just ensure that you're within any point on the data sheet, on the data set. And when you get to the insert, you click on pivot, it automatically select every point to select all the data. And when it selects it, I will come back to add to this data model later to explain why you need to use that. But for now, once it has selected, see the range of the data has been picked here. You can use existing worksheet or new worksheet, but it's advisable to use a new worksheet so that it's advisable so that you can even have your raw data intact. So now I'm going to leave this on new worksheet. This is what opens by default when you use the pivot. When you click on the pivot table, by default it selects new worksheet. You then say, okay, click on select okay. And this is what comes up. Now you have this is what comes up. Remember what I showed you? Remember what I showed you in the last slide? You had your filter here, your column, your row, and your value. Your row and your value. There are two ways you can do this. But the most common way to do this is to drag. You drag a particular field, or when you select a particular field, even if you select it, Excel will just allocate. For instance, let me try months to show you. Month is here under the row label. But there's another way you can do this. If I want to take this out, I just need to put my cursor here, hold down my mouse and drag it out. So what do we have here? I want to put brand here. I repeat the same thing. I'm on brand, so I will just hold my mouse there and drag brand to row. This is brand. These are the brands we have. Better Malt. These are types of drinks. Budweiser, Castle Light, Grand Malt, Hero, Trophy. These are various brands of drinks. Now, what do I do next? Then I will go to, I'm actually using my home country data for this, but we also have other data sets here. Now, this is the variable. Assuming this is what I want to actually, and I want to study what is going on here. See, notice that it moved from data set to sheet. And if I want to rename this sheet and I rename it as brand, so that I'll be able to identify brand. If I click on any point here, this is what appears here, brand. And let's say I want to see what happens if I drag this month into column. So that means I'm trying to study, look at the brands and compare by months. Remember what I told you. What you want to compare, what you want to compare here moves is what you put on the column label. And I have my months here. So now I want to see the total sales. How did all these brands perform? What do I do here? I'll go to, now I have three things here. I have quantity, cost, profit. And if I want to check, so based on quantity, how were they, what is the total sales quantity? This is what I do here. I'll drag the quantity here to value. So anything value here has to be a digit, a figure, numeric, sabi. Yes, it has to be a value anyway. This data you're looking at, see, it has been able to summarize that data you were looking at earlier. You have better malt and better malt drink. This is the sales so far. You have Budweiser drink here. This is the quantity sold so far. You have all of this. So it gives a snapshot, even by years. Even by years, you can see all of this. So you can drag anything you want to drag to this point. It depends on you. You can even decide to show profit here. Sum of profits. See, it has summarized everything, sum of quantity, sum of profits, and you can see all here. So Excel is, the pivot table is able to summarize a lot of things for you to see. Now let me just drag out this profit to make it simpler so that we can see it at a glance. Now there are so many things you can do here. We have region. Now what do we have under region? See, I put a region, I dragged the region to filter to see what we have. These are the regions. This is a filter button. Now, if you click on this filter button, you can see these are the various regions. North, northeast, northwest, southeast, south, west, and all of that. You have all of that here. But what happens if I don't want, I can decide to filter. That's the essence of the filter here. Select multiple items. Now, out of that, select multiple items. Uncheck all. I want to see the data for just the West. See, it means as far as the West is concerned, the West only sold in February and August. In February and August. So it means there was no activity in the Western region. Nothing was going on in other months. So you can see what I said that gives you at a snapshot of this. You can see it in a glance, at a glance. You can see this. Now, if I want to see all, or if I want to see, let's say this, Northwestern and the West. This is a combination of the Northwestern and the West. That's even indicated there multiple items were selected. Now, if I want to see all, I simply check all and everything returns back. Now, what happens if I include this region? You can actually have more than one items here. Now, watch what happens. I have dragged the region out of the filter and I decided to put it under brands. See, it has still summarized all of this. Now, under the first brand, it summarized the sales for every region. And it is easy for you to see as a salesperson or as a manager, or you've been asked to study about a particular region, it's easy to see what is going on here in each of these regions. Now, this is by brand. I've asked, please show me by brand and then split by region. What happens if I interchange and I drag the brand to be under the region? It still changes. So the pivot gives you what you want out of it. You can also decide to do by month. Now, what happens if I drag month to this end and move brands here? So either ways, it just gives a summary of what is happening, of what is going on. So now let me drag out months. You can also uncheck from here if you wish to. I'm going to uncheck region. I'll be bringing brands, or I'll leave this here and put years instead. So this is according to the year 2020, 2017, 2018, 2019. Now, there's something I need you to know. Remember, I told you the values. Now, when you want to compare on the value, you need to know the value fields. We call these fields pivot table fields. So we have the filter field, column field, row field, and value field. Now, the value field, at the value field, you need to tell Excel what you want to, the pivot table, what you want it to summarize by. You need to tell pivot what you want it to summarize by. Now, this has automatically chosen sum of quantity. So sum means total. It's simply giving you the total of this. You can see an arrow here, the drop down arrow. Now click on it, and this is what appears. We have the move to report filter, taking it, if you don't want to drag it, all of this, but it's actually easier to just drag what you need. But now, to change the summary, what you want to summarize by, the value field settings, go to value field settings. You have sum here. Remember, it's already in sum. If I need just the counts, this is it. The count is simply counting how many times. It's simply counting how many times. Now, this will make more sense if I'll drag this out to explain to you. We have it's still the same thing. It's still counting. It's counting how many times. It's just like you counting. It's not looking at the total quantity. For instance, it's counting. When we looked at quantity, then I went to buy something and I bought once, and I bought 10 of Better Malt, or 13 of Budweiser. I bought Budweiser, let's say 50 of it, or let me take it back to sum so that we can see value field setting, sum. Now take a look at, sorry, it's not region. Region can't sum. It has to be values. 11,899. 899. Now, this is the total that I bought. But how many times did I come to buy? That's what counts. It's not looking at just quantities, looking at how many times. Now, if I go to that value field settings, count. See, you're able to count 13 times. This person bought this 13 times, irrespective of how many quantity, how much the person bought. Now we can still go to same value settings and get average. This is the average. You can still go to same value settings and get, we have all of that. Max, mean, product, count, and all of that. For now, the most common, which I'll take us back to, is summation. And I hope we are following. Please indicate. All right. So now the next thing you need to know is, this doesn't still make sense at a glance. You may struggle with this. So we need to format. How do we format this? Still from value field settings, go to value field settings. Look below here. You can see number format. Now I go to number. It's giving me a preview. It's giving me a preview. I can say use 1000 separators. That's it. I'm simply saying put a comma so that I'll be able to understand this. Okay. Okay. See what it has done. Or I can decide to just round off. I don't want to see these zeros. It's looking too, it's actually tedious for my eyes. Now to decimal places, 0 and okay. So it's easier for you to see this. It's easier for you to see this now. This is what you're looking at here. So that's how to format. You can also, there are so many things you can do through that format. And please always try to, other people can go to the normal way through Excel, but always try to do that through this place. You can format by currency. You can use the USD. Okay, let's use pounds. Let's use pounds. And when we click on OK, see, that's giving you the currency. So it depends on what you want to achieve. It just summarizes it for you. Simply summarizes this for you. Now, so now I'm going to take away this and I'd like to summarize by brand again. Now looking at this, you can also sort this. By sorting, I mean you want to see from the largest to the lowest to the small, from the largest to the smallest. So how do you go about this? Now this is your pivot table. With this, you can right click on your mouse. Right click on your mouse. You have the sort. The sort appears here. This is the sort. Now you're saying sort smallest to largest or sort largest to the smallest. There are so many, you even have more sort options where you see all of that there. But let's say I want to sort from the largest to the smallest. Remember, I said you just want to see a snapshot of what you're doing. Go to your sorts, and this is what appears, sort largest to smallest. See, it has done that. So the largest sales here is sum by quantity. Sum of quantity. You can even go back to, let's say by sales rep. These are the sales rep here. From the largest to the smallest. I'm looking at the total here. I'm looking at the total. You will see that Agbo Lager has sold the highest here, the grand total. Now, you can also do same sort, not just for values only. Now, for text, you can sort via, you can also sort in text. Now, let's see how that works. Let me get a text here in this data. See, because my cursor is on a text and not here. I placed it here. Watch what happens here. Now that it's on a value, sort, the sort automatically gives me smallest or largest. Now, if I go to a text, right click and sort A to Z. See, it has arranged it for me in alphabetical order. So you can do all of this as well on Excel, on a pivot, Excel pivot, on a pivot table, you can do all of this. So I hope we are following. At this point, I want to pause to ask, do you have any question? Because I like to treat that. Okay, I'm checking the comment section to know if, I'm checking the chat to know if I can see any question there. None, all right.
Yeah, there is none for now.
Okay.
None, all right.
Can we?
Yeah, you can.
Okay, sorry, I joined the class when it already started. I wasn't aware. So I was going to ask that this pivot table, where how do we access it? Like I just saw it beside the screen. I don't actually know how we started. So that's my question. Like where on the header can we find it? I don't know if my question is clear.
Okay. So because you just joined, now this is the data set, which I already labeled data set. And this is what I did. Anyway, this is the data set. So just click on any point, put your cursor on any point within the data set, because you can have your data set run into to the very end. At least I've worked on such data to the very end of this point. So regardless, it has to be within your data, any point within the data. And note too that it's important that your data must have an accurately named column. You must have a header. Each column must have a header, because that's what the pivot table uses to recognize the data and what you are trying to call up, or what report you're trying to create anyways. So now put it at any point of this data, go to insert, and we have home, insert, and all of that. So go to insert and then pivot. It has automatically selected everywhere here. Then okay. That's how it appears. You can then begin to drag. I said hold down your mouse and drag whatever you need to drag. Drag by region, drag by years under here. It depends on you. Drag by profits to this point. Or you can have your years here. So either ways, however you wish to summarize it. Do you understand now?
Yes, I do. Thank you very much.
You're welcome. So we just proceed. Say I name this region. I double click and on that point and named it region. So back to this. Now there's another thing you can do as well on this data. Let me use this. There's another thing you can do. Let me format. I want to format this from value field settings, like I said, number formats, and I just want to format to numbers. Take away the decimal places. Okay. I actually wanted to use comma to separate it so that it can make more sense. Remember, it has to be within, can make more sense. So yes, now out of this, there's something else you can do. You can also summarize by percentage. Percentage looks at the total, and then gets the portion, what portion of that total each of the variables represents. You do that by going to, this is summarize values by now, show values as. It's asking you what you want to show the value as. I have this drop down here. So when I click on the drop down, as a percentage of grand total, or of column total, whatever you want. Now let's say of column total. And I say, okay, see, this is the column. So every single thing here equals 100%. In other words, it's saying as at 2017, what is the highest here? Let's even sort this thing. Right click, remember. Sort from largest to smallest. That's because it's on 2017. As at 2017, which one contributed the highest? The Northeast in this sales data region contributed the highest. The least came from Southeast. Same thing here, 2018. See the highest here is from West. So it summarizes that. You can also decide to change it as well. That's the profits, where the profit comes from most, show value. Go to this side, percentage sum of row total. Percentage of row total. Now it has taken this to row by row. You can see it that even from this total, all of this plus grand total of 2017 plus 2018 plus 2019 gives you the 100% on the grand total. You can see that 2017, it was more profitable. Out of these 3 years for the company. So further study of the data can actually tell you why. It could be that they were just enjoying the first mover advantage, and possibly along the line, competitors came in and started competing with them on the market share. It could be. It's only a data that shows both the competition activity, or the national activity of people within this industry can actually point to where the issue is coming from. So you can see all of this at a glance and know. Now, let's say I don't even want to see percentage again. It's still from the same value field settings. I'll go to show value as, and then no calculation. Okay, that's returned back to where we're at, the point we're at. So all of these are basically all you need to know about the pivot table. So it's simply a tool to summarize that. Okay, sorry, there's also one point now here. We need to know how do you can group this data as well. So how can you group this data? For instance, we have Northeast and Northwest, and I want to see why And I want to check, why can't I just group this? And I just want to see north, east, west, and south. First of all, the proper thing to do would be to sort. Sort by alphabetical order. Sort A to Z, so that everything can come together. This is it here. All are together. Now I just want to see north, south, west. North, south, west. So what do I do at this point? Now you can group in so many ways. There are so many ways you can group your data. Now you can highlight. You can either highlight it and group it, or you can select the group. For instance, this is what I mean here. You can highlight all of this. Right click, that's the north. Right click, and you can see group here. Group. When I group this, what do I name it? Group 1 changes to north. Now this is it here, north. This is the entire data combined. This is the split. You can also group the south by this. Highlight here, and then right click and group. Change the name as well. Here, south. When you see this negative sign, it's simply saying unhide the grouping. But if I click on it, it will close, hide the grouping. And then, of course, we have the west. So I've been able to group this for you to see. So you can group in that way. And then there's another thing you can do for the values as well. There's another thing you can do. Now, let's say I want to ungroup all of this. Highlight all, right click. Highlight all, right click, and then ungroup. If you return back to where we're at. If I right click this is a value. Okay, it can't. Let's see if I can use another data for this. Let's go to this brand data and use just quantity here. Quantity, I have this quantity. See, it's very long down to this point. It's endless. Now, if I want to group this, I can group this by right clicking. This is also another method, but the most popular should be highlighting it. Group. See, because it's a value, when you pick group, it actually opens a dialog box. And from this dialog box, it's showing that this is the smallest value, 700. This is the range from 700 to 1,876. It's asking, how can I group it? Group by, I can say group by 700s. Group by 750. Okay. So this is what happens. From 700 to 1449. It just grouped according to what I said. This is the grouping. So this can also explain a lot of things. Count of brands. 190 of these brands were sold here. If I also want to filter the same brand here, it's possible to do that. And under filter, I can do select. All right, Rebecca. What aspects can't you see? Okay, let me start again. I'm taking this away and I'm dragging this out. And I want to ungroup. Ungroup. Now, this is what we had originally. This is what we had originally. And I want to group this. I initially showed, can you see my screen?
Yes, I can see it now.
Okay. So I was trying to show you, I initially showed you how you can group, and that is for text. Now, this is for value. Another way you can group values, you can only group them by range. And the only way is when you click on any point here in the pivot table, right click. Now you have your scroll down, you have your group option here. You group, but unlike the text, where this one didn't appear, you just grouped instantly whatever you highlighted. This does not appear for the text, but because these are values, digits, figures, it has automatically opened up a dialog box, which shows you that this is the range from 700 to 1876. This is the highest value you find in this data. Now it's asking you, how do you want me to group it? In statistics, we'll call it bin. How do you want me to bin this? And now I said, group them by 750, count from 700, 701, count up to 750 of that, and group it in 750s. Or in 750s, now it's going to group. Or let's even try by 300. Group in 200s rather, in 200s. Let's see. Okay. So this is what it has done here. This range, the first range is up to 200. Second range, 200, 900 to 199. There will be 200 values there, 200 values each. So do you get now? Huh?
Yes, I do.
Okay. Now I was showing you.
Yes.
Okay. Now I was showing you something like brands. Now I want to know by brand. I can only use count here because this is not a value. This is we call them, we have numerical and, well, I think we have qualitative. These are things like you cannot count, what do I say now? You can't count yes and no. You can only count how many yes. How many yes did I receive from this survey? I received 5 yes. I received 10 no's. So that's how it is. It's counting how many of the brand. Now, if I even want to, you can have the count of brand here and you can still drag the same brand to filter. Now, if I pick a particular brand here, let's say I decide to choose Hero brand. Okay. Now, this is count of brand. Within this range, what you can see here, within this range is there are 20 brands within this 700 to 89. There are 20 brands here and 8 brands here, 1 here. When we use another data, you also understand, or let me also open up another data here because this can also be done with dates. I also want to show you how this can be done with that date. And I don't think there are dates here. Okay, we don't have dates here. So let's attempt this on another data set. Trying to move this away, drag this out. Okay. Just a moment. I open that data set and closed it unexpectedly. Okay. So I have the data set here, and I will stop sharing now to show you what I mean by that. I'll stop sharing this one so that I can show you the other data set. Okay. So here we have a date. We have a date like this. You can also pivot here. Remember, insert pivot table, and okay, it's a new worksheet. Now, if I have a date here, I drag to the row. No, I don't want this to be grouped. It has already been grouped for me on group. I'm ungrouping this. Now I have this. How can we group this? At any point here, you can do the same for date. I click on any point on this data, the pivot table group. For date, you see, it also opens up same dialog box. Now it depends on you. You can use quarter or years or whatever, or months. Now let's say I use years here, or I use months here. Okay, see, it has grouped whatever by month. And I can then count how many items were purchased. Count of items purchased. In January, this was what was purchased and all of that. I can still go back. I can still go back to same data, date of purchase here, and then filter by years only. And I say just give me for only, let's say only October 1. See? Or I can even choose within a certain range, 2022 and all of that. August, September, October, all these things, they're data, they're particular data, but it's a long one, and we can't do that now. But it's just for you to understand the concept anyway. Just for you to understand the concept. So this has grouped it by that. You can choose, you can decide however you want to group it. I want to group the data by years. Fine, to change it to years. Sorry, I mistakenly clicked that out. To group it for you to years depends on you. So that's just what I wanted to show here. And at this point, I don't think I have any other thing. I've also shown you everything around that. The grouping, you've learned to group, how to group. That's basically it. You've learned how to show the table. You've learned all of that. And take note that we have all of this here. When you have your pivot table, this automatically appears. These tabs appear. They call it tabs to show you various things you can do here, which we are going to look into this in the next thing we are going to do now. So you can have this here, all of this here, which you see. This is fields. It's just for you to organize the same thing as what you have here. This is just to control this point. Change data source. You can change the data source from here. Change data source. That's if you want to select another data, but we don't need that here. Cancel. It takes you back to the same thing. Field settings and all of that, options and everything, so many more. So now let's go back to the data we're working on. We are going to learn about pivot, just a brief introduction now about pivot charts, because after you have the table, the next thing is for you to have a chart. Now we are done with this. Let's move to what we have next here, which is the charts. We've looked at all of this. What is a pivot chart? So it's a visual representation of your pivot table. The difference is, for the other, you see the pivot, but the chart is easier. It's something you can just see in a glance. And most times, most management, because they have limited time, they're always on the go. They usually prefer, it makes it more interesting and easier for them to assimilate once you use a chart. So it's just a visual representation of what you have on your table. And just like I told you that table updates automatically. I forgot to show you that, but possibly look at it when we are doing that here. Now, this pivot chart also updates automatically when your pivot table changes. It links up to the chart. It's linked to the table. That's where you create it from. And why pivot charts? Because it helps you to see. In a glance, you will just see the trend or the patterns faster than table. So you're able to see that very fast. And you're able to compare categories easily, very fast. Instead of searching through the figures instantly, you're able to get that. You're able to get that. You can also identify high and low values immediately. And then you can also interact with the data using filters or slicer. You can use the same for tables, but it's still the same thing when you use applying filters or slicers, which you will also see. Now, these are the different types of charts. There are so many kinds of charts, but these are the most common type, which once you know this, you will be able to know how to use others as well. We have the bar chart and column chart. The bar chart and the column chart, they look alike, but the difference is we can see it from here. This is a bar chart. You use the bar chart when your data point is very large. Imagine if it's longer than this, you have about 70 of this. Imagine using it here. It will be too long and it will make it too tiring, too tedious for whoever is looking at it to see. But with this bar chart, you can easily tell. You only need to, be creative about the message you're trying to pass. Most times you always want to sort from either largest to the lowest so that it's easier to see. So that's the bar chart and that's the column chart. Now we have things like, aside from that, we have clustered column. Now, why clustered column or clustered bar chart? Why this? For instance, we have 2020 and 2021 here. How can we fit all of them in here? Assuming we are trying to study the same thing here, whether this is a country or a brand anyway, we are trying to find out here. A brand. We know that using this, they call it legend, using blue and using purple. Purple is for 2020. You are able to figure out which one. So it's very easy to see this at a glance, that this pastel, that he had the largest, he brought in the largest returns, sales returns. And then you can also see that the largest, even at that, is still the largest over the years, the largest brand. But then even at that, you can see that in 2020, the value was larger. The growth seemed to be larger than in 2021. Oh, sorry. It seemed to be larger than in 2021. So you can see all of that here. It depends on what you are trying to represent or which passes the message better for you. Now we have the line chart as well. You use the line chart to show a trend. Now, instead of that thing that you want to, data points that you want to show that is very long, if you want to show a trend or something, it's easier for you to show it here. It's very easy. by line chart to show a trend. See the way this thing was going. No, it increased in September. We can already see that whatever sales is going on here, it says work date and years, count of work. So from the output, you can see that work is larger between August, September, October. That's the third quarter in 2020. And then 2021 is showing that it wasn't so here. So you can see all of this at a glance. You can even compare when it has 2 years this way. See, you know that already is for 2021 and all of that. You can already see that there was a pattern in the third quarter, but that same pattern moved in the next year, which is 2020. Okay, in 2021, in 2020 there was a pattern. 2020 is the blue. August to October, they worked more. They appeared to work more in the third quarter. But now by 2021, it shifted. It now shifted to the second quarter. So all of these things you begin to explain through data. Now we have all these other charts too. It's what we did before that I was showing you percentage of the best way to depict proportion. What share? The best way to depict share, market share of this, all of that. It's most likely, especially when the data points are few, because this doesn't make sense when the data points are large. You won't be able to. When it's few, you can see it from here. So this is called a pie chart. You can see already that Germany has the largest portion of these beans. Now you can also see combinations. Sometimes you can combine all of these. This is area charts and all of that. So we'll see more of that. Now let's go practical on this. How do we achieve this now? We are going back to our data sets. Now, this was what we worked on originally. This is the same thing we worked on originally. Now, how can we convert this region data? How can we convert it? Now, look at it here. We have, see, once this thing is at this point, if it's out of it, you won't be able to see it. You won't be able to see that. That tab is dependent on when you're working on the pivot table. So you have to click on any point in the pivot table to be able to bring this tab out. Now you see pivot table, analyze and design. Go to pivot table, analyze. We have pivot chart here. Now click on pivot chart. What chart are we going to use? Let us use a column chart to show this. It's giving you a preview of everything you're doing. But let's assume we're using a column chart and we say, okay. So you see what has happened here. It has created a chart for us. In this chart, now note that you can resize this however you want it. You can resize this in whatever way you choose. This is showing us 2017, 2018, 2019 data. That's what we have here. You can even choose to filter by years. Drag years to the filter here. Drag years to the filter. And then select 2018, 2019. I can say show me only 2019 data. Okay. See, this is only 2019 data. Show me 2018 and 2019 data. This is what it will give me. So it depends on you. I'm going to undo because I intend heading somewhere with this, going somewhere with this. Now, this is what we have here. You can also format this chart you're looking at. You can format it in these various ways. First, do you want all of this to disappear? But before it disappears first, so that we'll be able to explain, you can see a plus sign here. Excel said add or remove or change. This is where you format. This plus sign beside it. Click on plus. We want to put a chart title. See, a chart title has appeared. And where do we want this chart title? Let me hide this. Click on this X and it will hide. Where do we want this chart? Where do we want this chart title to be? Sorry, chart title. Where do we want this chart title to be? That's what this arrow here is showing. We say above the chart. I want it to be above the chart. And what will be my chart title? I will say sales by region. Sales by region. And then I can highlight and bold. Can also do all of this within sales by region. See, we have this. Now, what if I want to make, you can set data labels, see, if you want to use this, but perhaps it's going to make our chart look somehow, make it too busy. So let's stay away. We can decide to use this. This works as well. You can see it's giving you everything. Now, the arrow will still tell you where do you want to put it, with legend keys, with no legend keys, and all of that. What happens with no legend keys? Watch and see. No legend keys. This is what it gives you with legend keys. Legend keys with no legend keys. So you can play around all of this. You can play around all of this. Grid lines. No legend key. So if I don't want this, I can take this away out by unchecking it. You have grid lines. This is grid line. If I want to, that's this line here. If I want to take it away, uncheck grid lines. See, it's a smooth one now. Include grid lines, it will bring it back. Whatever you choose, trend line based on anything. If I try to use trend line based on 2017, which is the start here, see, it just draws a line here, but I don't need the trend line at the moment. It's only to compare with what is happening in 2018. Now, there's another thing. I want all these things. I don't want this to show. What do I do? Right click. When you right click, it shows you pivot chart options. Now I want to hide this. Okay. So now you click on this point, right click on any point of this, what you want to hide. It says hide value field buttons, hide all field buttons on charts. Now hide, it will hide everything, and this is smooth. I want to take away, you can add axis title. It's supposed to add axis title. Now this is the axis title. Any option you want to use at all. Now the axis title here will be sales for this. Sales, I clicked on that point. Sales by Composite. Now you have the northwest here. It depends on you. Do you want the axis title or not? But if you want, you can edit it from here. And one way to do that is when you bring up that, you go and check, click on that box. Now I'm erasing gradually. Sales, profits. So I'll put profits here. You can also choose to expand this. What is this paintbrush here for? It tells you the style. You can also choose to expand this here. Through this, all of these things here are just for you to know size, property, and all of that. Whatever size you want. See the text box here and everything. You can choose to also expand it from here. Profits. Whatever you want to use. Or you can also choose to do away with it. We don't need the chart, the axis title, take it away. And they take it away because we can already see sales profit by region. Sales profits by region. So it already explains to you, the title already explains to you all of this. Now we are going to open up a sheet. And let's name it dashboard. Because we are coming to that. Now, where did I get this from? Region. Sales profit by region. You see this here. When I click on it, I will cut it out. I'll cut it out from here, X. Go to dashboard, just paste here. It's still connected. Anything that changes at the other end, this is our region data. If I decide to filter for only North Central, watch what will happen. Only North Central. Dataset. Sorry, dashboard. See, only North Central. It's still very much connected to this. Remove filter. You can use here or you can use the filter. You can use the other filter, whichever one works. You can use the filter when you drag. Now this is hidden because I hid it here. Pivot table. Field item settings. Field list, sorry, go to field list. Once you click here and go to field list, this will reappear. So you can decide to use this filter, drag it down to the filter, but we won't do that now for a particular reason. Now we go to our brand data. We have a brand, the brand here, and I'm going to take this out by brand. Let me see the profit. We are trying to understand the profits too. Still same profit data. The filter here is on. Everything wasn't checked. So we have same profit here. And remember, I would format here, right, from value field settings, sum. Sorry. Through the sum first. I'll go to number format and number. Use 1000 separator and okay. So you have this sum of profits. Now to create the table, I'm going to create another table for this. And this is what I'll do. Sorry, pivot table. Pivot charts. Now when I get to pivot charts, this time around, I want to use a bar. I want to use a back column. Okay. And when I have this here, this is what I want to do. I'll first of all sort. This is not looking nice. It's not looking nice. Sort. So what am I sorting? I'm sorting from largest to the smallest. No, I don't want it this way. Let's go to sort again. Sort from smallest to largest. So this is more like it. This works for me. I can resize this and I have it here as this. If you want something like this, so it depends on you. So remember what I said here. On this aspect, we didn't use this. So this is for changing the style. You can use this to change. How do you want your chart to look like? I can decide to use this and change it this way. You have the color as well here. What kind of color are you looking towards? You can use that. Probably use a lighter color, a lighter shade of this. Anything you want to use, you can use here. Let me just try to leave it at this. Now for this chart title, I need the chart title to be where? It can be anywhere. It can be centered, more options. Any other option, wherever you want it to be, can be there. You can move it to wherever, but it's easier for it to be here. Profit. Total profit by brand. We can already see, like I said, that this is going to make it easier for you to know. You can decide to include all of this here or take it away. But now let me cut this out. Click on this. When you click on this, you go to cut. Where is our dashboard? You can keep this beside this. Paste. Have this here, so you have this beside you. Now, what if you want to make all of this disappear? I'm going to right click. I'm going to click on this sum of profit and right click, hide all field buttons on the chart to make our chart cleaner. But look at this value here. It means, see this here, it means I don't need this. So I can go to this side and not data label. The legends, no, it's not legend. Data labels, I need these ones. These ones can stay. Axis, you want this to stay, but we need it. Grid lines, you decide which one. I think it's nicer without the grid lines and easier. Chart title, but we need the chart title. Sales profits by brands. Axis, we take away the axis, no. But there's something we're trying to take away. We want to take this away. Another way too is you can click on that and delete. It can go. That's what I did. Control Z. I went back to this. Since I'm not able to really locate it here on the chart, so what I did was I just went to this place. This is what I want to go. Clicked on it. See, it's a box on its own. And on my keyboard, I just pressed delete. It went. Because I don't need it again. Since I already have the data labels showing here. So no point. You can even resize this box. You can resize or however you want it to be. Now I don't need this as well. I click and delete because I'm not using multiple. I have all of this already to show that. So now I'm going to resize. So we have this already. Time is almost exhausted. Now we are heading towards dashboard. What exactly is dashboard? What is dashboard? Dashboard is simply one page. It's simply one page that summarizes everything about your data. It combines charts and visuals and is very interactive. It fits on only one screen. So usually when you do reports, what you do is after you have done your individual reports, there is one page which summarizes everything that has all your charts all at once. Everything. Usually, well, I like to use the first page to start with that to give everybody a screenshot, a snapshot of everything my report is talking about. Then every other page, you then start to break it down. By sales region, I look in depth into that and every other thing. So it comes that way. So I know you've seen, if you check, you would have seen a lot of this. You'd have seen a lot of this. You'd have seen a lot of people create something like this. So what else can we do to make this thing look smoother? We'll do one more and then we'll make this thing smoother. But before then, I want to go to view and I want to take away this grid line so that it can look like a canvas. I did this by going to the view tab, grid lines, take away. So see, it's looking really smooth now. If you add grid lines, it will return back. So you can do that. Grid lines, take away. And I can drag this up so that I can have more space. Okay, let me leave it that way anyway. If I can choose to resize this. Now let me do a third one. We've done sales profit by region, sales profit by brand, and let's see sales profit by let's say by sales by month. No, by sales rep. Let's do by sales rep. So we're just going to briefly do this. Another pivot table. Create another pivot table, new worksheet, and okay. We have here sales rep by profit. And I'm going to format this. Value field setting, go to number format, go to number, remove, and just use a comma to separate okay and okay. Now I have this. Now I'm going to create another pivot table from here, pivot chart from here. What do I use this time around? What do I use this time around? For this, I would have to use, well, let me use, because it's pi, if the data points are so much to not make any sense. Look at it here. We decide to use this. See, it's a whole lot. It's a whole lot. It's easier when you use, for instance, if I decide to modify these years now by region now, because it's smaller, Okay, so I'll change this chart. I'm going to change this chart by highlighting on it and then go to pivot chart, analyze, design or analyze. And then when I go to analyze, then design. Then when I go to design, change chart type. Let me change this one to pie because it's easier, it's fewer. So I can have this here. And I'm going to reduce the size. I want it to be same thing as this one I have here. But for this, I'm going to include the data label. But I want it to be in percentage. Percentage of more options. Percentage. This is what came out of. Now I'm going to click on percentage and uncheck value. So I just need to see this. I just need to see this and number. I'm going to format the numbers here. Now I need this to be bigger than this, expand, and then bolding it. I decide to use white. Okay. Let's use this way. So we have this sales profit by region. I was heading somewhere, that's why I use this. Now the last thing I would use here is I just created a dashboard. Let's name this sales rep. Sales rep. And by sales rep, for this one, I'm going to change the design, change chart type to column charts. Okay. And this is what I have. Double click on this and I want to use sales by profits. Sales profits by sales rep. That'll be my chart title. And then I'm going to hide this field. Click on anywhere in the field and hide. I hide all field buttons on charts. And this is it here. Now I'm going to, what else can I do? Change the design. Change the design to what? No, this doesn't look okay. It depends on you. Depends on you. So for me, I think I'm okay with this one. I'm taking away this total because we don't need it. Cut. We are going to our dashboard. And then we paste there. I need to resize all of this. I'm going to move this to this point. Resize. Move this next. Move this. Resize it to this point. Any of these points, active points, that's where you drag or resize from. Then I have this drag and I need to resize. We are trying to nicely arrange this so that it can fit in. For the benefit of this, let's use this. Now, with all of this, we have a dashboard here. We have a dashboard here. And now there's something I want to connect. If I change something here, for instance, if I filter this region from the region, each of them, we have each of them here. Let me arrange this dashboard. Come to this point. If I filter this region now, and I go here to this point, pivot analyze, field list. Let's say I go to region. I drag region here. It's because it's now a pivot table. And then I filter for only North Central. See, it's going to change only here, but it's not affecting all these other charts. Now that's where dashboard comes in. That's my region data, right? Now that's where dashboard comes in. We need to know that it's affecting all charts at the same time so that you won't have to be doing this one after the other. One way you can do that is, now see, first of all, go to this. We are trying to connect all the data points here. We want to connect all the data here. And one way we can do that is this. We're going to connect all data.